Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, fellow bearders, fellow beard lovers, beard enthusiasts. It's Mr. I Rock a Beard. Today is Sunday, March 22nd, 2020. No, I have not recorded in a very long time. I think since January. A lot of things have happened since then. And I'll catch you guys up on what's been going on. But happy Sunday to everybody. Hope everybody's having a great weekend around the world despite the current state of the world with the ongoing pandemic known as the coronavirus. And this has quarantined a large section of the world. The spread of this thing um, has really hindered a lot of things, a lot of progression in a lot of things, and it seems to be hitting different parts of the world on a daily basis. Whereas you have different parts of the world shutting down entire cities, entire countries at times, based on the growing numbers of people contracting this virus. Um, well, I still think that the numbers of deaths, and anytime anybody dies, it's not a great thing, But I still think the number of deaths compared to the number of people who have tested positive for this thing um, are astronomically far apart. I still think it's 1 or 2% of the total number of people infected to the number of people who have passed away from this. Um, I still do think that we need to maintain a degree of calm, a degree of tranquility, not freak out, not panic, um, not go to the grocery stores and empty all the aisles of the waters and toilet paper and paper towels. I mean, we still have people that are unable to travel to supermarkets and get their own stuff. People who are handicapped, people who are elderly. Got to think of children too. And when people not only in the country but around the world are just buying up supplies and being selfish about it, it's a terrible thing. And it's a shame that people will show their true colors um, when something like this happens. Where people will only think of themselves or think of their own families, which is good. To think of yourself and think of your family to safeguard those you care about. But you also got to think outside the box. Think of outside the box and think of other people who would be in need. People who, again, aren't unable to travel and get their own supplies. Went to the supermarket recently and just to see all the water gone, all the toilet paper gone. Snack aisles are empty. You know, things you would normally see. Eggs like gone, like dairy products. It's just mind blowing. You know, and again, I get the need for concern, but I don't see the need for panic. You know, um, Panicking doesn't solve anything. It doesn't help. All it does is create more chaos and more worry. We shouldn't be doing that this time. We should be, again, maintaining a degree of tranquility and just following what the rules of those experts have said, the CDC. When they tell you just wash your hands, keep your hands out of your face, avoid direct contact with people. And if you feel any symptoms, make sure you go get checked out. Things like that. And I think we'll be fine. To run out and spend your life savings on supplies. And I mean, again, we don't know how long this thing is going to last, but there's certain things set in place to ensure our safety, and certain rules that we just have to follow. If we're told to quarantine. There's no need to be outside at this time. Businesses are closing down. Only essential businesses are staying open at this point. Um, First responders, firefighters, police officers, um, doctors, nurses, people who drive ambulances. Those are the people that are out. Hospital workers like myself, we have to report in because we are um, we are those people that are essential to people's safety and people's lives. So I have to be at work and in the office on a daily basis. But the streets are empty. You know, I'm seeing that people are following those rules, self quarantining, and schools are shutting down. So parents have to stay home with their kids and homeschool, and sometimes you just gotta call it audible in life. But I also think that, again, that to panic and to feed in to the panic is something that we shouldn't be doing at this time. But there is a need for concern at this time, based on the numbers increasing and the number of states and the number of countries that are continue to report cases of infection. But panic. I believe the world has seen many things before, where the world has survived. And while there was concern and there were issues that were brought up, again, in the past, I don't think that panic was the thing to do. And I think that in this case, it's the same thing. But to everybody out there, please remain safe. If your city, your town, your state, country is advising to self quarantine for a certain amount of time, please do so. I understand that for some people it's hard to just sit and be idle for a certain amount of time, but if it's for your safety, and these are the things that the experts are recommending, by all means, if you're not an expert, then it should be in your best interest and the best interest of your family, your friends, the people you care about, to follow those rules. But I do believe that we'll be fine. I believe we'll be fine, and we'll come through this, not completely unscathed, but we'll survive. We'll be fine. A couple other things that I wanted to talk about that have happened since my last recording. I mean, big news was the death of Kobe Bryant, and I'm not one of these folks that takes celebrity passings or things that happen to celebrities personally. I can maybe count on one hand the amount of times that a celebrity has been affected by something and it affected me. And to be honest, I didn't, that Sunday that I woke up, you would never think to hear that, Kobe Bryant, being such a young man, you would hear his name on the news, being involved in a sudden death. But I remember sitting on the couch and scrolling through my timeline on Facebook, and somebody who I'm friends with, but we don't have a lot of mutual friends, but we're friends through Greek association. And I scrolled down and I saw her post, and it said, wait, did Kobe Bryant really die? And of course, you hear these things, and you continue to scroll through your timeline, don't see anybody else post it, so you're like, what is she talking about? Where would she get this information that Kobe Bryant died? And no information on how he died, but just a random question. So I'm checking ESPN, checking CNN, checking all the news channels, NBA TV, and I don't see anything. So I'm like, this has to be another rumor, because maybe a couple of weeks before that, I was scrolling through Twitter, and somebody had posted tragically that Mike Tyson had passed away somewhere, like in Europe or in his house or something like that. So, but I saw the post a couple of times, so I'm like, well, this has to be true. So it says click the link for the full story. So I click on the link, and it's some dumbass like BDSM sex video thing. So I'm like, okay, so this is clickbait. Okay, so I'm thinking the same thing with the Kobe Bryant thing. This has to be clickbait. Like, that's a random name, number one, just a random person to pick. Like, why would you pick Kobe? And then secondly, like, there's no other news entities reporting than just this person. But I kid you not, within that hour, I think the first entity that I saw that reported it might have been CNN, and then still didn't believe it. Like, it's not on NBA TV, it's not on ESPN, none of the sports channels. I mean, it's just Kobe. Why wouldn't they be reporting this? But CNN is stuck on this story, and they're saying it's a possibility that Kobe was in this helicopter, right? They're not confirming it. And continue to watch and continue to go through Twitter and all that sort of stuff, and not seeing anything, but more people are asking the question. And I think maybe within 30 minutes after that, ESPN was the next one to roll it out, and I think NBA TV was the last. And could understand why, because they didn't want to panic the fans and stuff like that. And but just to hear the confirmation of his death hit me hard. And I'm not a dude where too many things make me cry. I think as I've gotten older, I've gotten a lot more emotional, but um, not too many things make me cry. Especially if I don't know the person or it doesn't personally affect me. But um, I grew up, in my teens, watching Kobe Bryant and some of the spectacular things that he's done. Um, and I know people personally that have been inspired by his achievements and his accomplishments from a young age, and what he meant to them. I know most of them have never actually met him, never shook his hand, but just followed his life, through his ups and downs, his trials and tribulations, and through his great moments and his worst moments. And those people felt personally connected with him. Because I'm personally connected with them, I felt the hurt too. And such a young age, man, 41, and then his daughter was on that helicopter too, and some of the family members, some other families that were on that helicopter, and the pilot and stuff like that. And it's just, you think that, you know um, as life goes on, sometimes you take life for granted, and you think that the next moment that you're going to wake up, um, that you'll continue to have these days forever until God calls your number. And a lot of us often think that it's going to be later in life. But Kobe was only 41. I think his daughter was 13. Um, and then you have those other people that were on that helicopter too, and they were just thinking, it's just another Sunday going to a game. Don't want to deal with traffic, so let's take the helicopters. I'm pretty sure it's something that they have done in the past, and that happens, and it's such a sad thing, you know. And I did shed tears that day. It was just such a sunken feeling, It felt like you lost one of your own family members, um, and not only what he contributed to basketball, but contributed to people, contributed to the world. Again, Kobe had that mentality that nothing could stop him. You know, one of my chapter brothers, shout out Mr. He's So Funny. Um, he and I talked that day, and he said to me, he said, Kobe's too competitive to die. Like Kobe's too, you know, he's too goal oriented to die. Like he said he believed that Kobe's the only person that he knew that could beat death in a 1-on-1. And as hard as I laughed when I heard that, it's just like, you know, how do we as human beings, look at life, and not only take advantage of the opportunities that you're given, but just allow ourselves to know that your days are numbered. We don't know the time, we don't know the hour, we don't know the minute. We're just going about our day, normal routine, and then something that can happen in the blink of an eye and you're gone. So it's important to not only take care of yourself, but cherish your loved ones. You may have somebody out there that you haven't spoken to in a long time because you have an argument, or somebody you just may have lost touch with, and you've been thinking about that person, but didn't necessarily have the means of contacting them, or felt that they can also contact you. But sometimes we got to put that pride aside and just reach out. Even if it's a 5-minute conversation, a couple of text messages, to clear your conscience, and let the person know, hey, I was thinking about you. You don't necessarily have to have a big long reunion with that person, but it's a good feeling to lift that off of you. And I think his death did allow people to see that, did allow people to make those phone calls that they've been thinking about doing, or send that text message or that email or that letter or whatever it is. But the sad reality is that since his passing, that time does go on, and people do forget that feeling. People do forget that numbing feeling when somebody of that status passes away, and they get these feelings of euphoria. They get these feelings of deep emotion. They tend to forget that when life passes you by again, when you're back at work and you're back into your routine, and the stress of work hits you and the stress of life hits you, you forget that feeling. I don't know if as human beings we'll ever be equipped to continue that sort of feeling, but um, I pray that the world would, you know, not just wait until a celebrity passes or wait till something bad happens to them to realize that, you know, there's much more to life than just what we take at face value. Um, so Kobe's death um, definitely hit us all. Those who cared for him and those who watched his career and watched what he did after he retired and stuff like that. So um, that was big, you know. And even to this day, from time to time, I'll think about that day and what happened, and um, just reflect on life itself and say, you know what, it could be much worse. Whatever I'm going through at the time, I always think of others and think there's somebody in this world that, you know, would take my same situation and may not handle it the same way. They may do damage or do harm to themselves or harm other people based on what's going on in their lives. And it allows me to reflect and say, you know what, it could be worse. So be grateful for what you have. Be grateful that you're breathing. Be grateful that you're healthy. Be grateful that you have certain things in your life right now that you can hold on to, and just be thankful to God that you have them. And of course, one of those things for me is my son, Micah, who entered the world on January 6th of this year. So, I wake up every day and I'm grateful that I have him, and he is such an important piece to everything that I do in life now. The reason why I get up and I go to work, the reason why, you know, I'm looking to be the healthiest I can be at this age at 38. The reason why I am willing to sacrifice personal feelings for the betterment of others, because again, I have to make a great impression for this young man, and I want to be the best father that I can be to him, best example of what a man should be. And that takes work, especially when you've gone 38 years without having a kid. I've been around kids all my life and absolutely love kids, love children, nieces, nephews, godchildren. I just love kids, but to have your own, it's a different feeling. And as a brand new dad, it's a learning process. You learn what his cries are, what they mean. You learn how precious sleep really is. Even though I've never really slept since I turned 30. I've suffered from insomnia for the last 9 years, but it's a different type of insomnia when you have a kid that can't feed himself and can't let you know that he's wet or that his diaper needs changing or that he's hungry. He can't verbalize that. The only thing he can do is cry. And you have to figure out what those cries are. And different techniques, to soothing your baby. You'll have, different parenting styles and different things you'll learn from family members, that some things make sense, some things don't. But you take all of those things and kind of pick sense from the nonsense, and you make it work for yourself, and you make it work for all parties involved. But yeah, this has been a journey over the last 11 weeks as of tomorrow. A lot of them have been fun. A lot of those pieces of the journey have been fun, some not so fun, especially when you don't know why he's crying. And you're trying to figure it out, and you're positioned in different ways, and you're trying to comfort him and soothe him. And sometimes it could be the simplest thing as him having gas or needing to poop, or maybe the room that he's in is just too hot, it's too cold. Just figuring out what he needs and when he needs it. Those are the challenging things, and until he can actually verbalize those things, it's just parental instinct that you have to rely on. And again, being a new parent, sometimes those don't kick in immediately. You just have to figure it out. And I think my favorite time with him now is bath time, because that's when he's at his calmest, I think. And he loves it, when you get the water on him and get the soap on him and clean his body up and he smells nice. He loves it, and now he's at this stage where he he's trying to talk and he's making his sounds and he's communicating and he smiles a lot more and he laughs now. And he still expresses himself with his hands and his feet and stuff like that. And I usually get that time with him when I come home from work, and I do appreciate his mom for allowing that time with me, because again, sometimes I get home from work so late, and she'll wait for me to have that time with him, and I'm deeply appreciative of that. And you know, just to have that little bit of time with him, and sometimes this kid will have me up till 1 in the morning, and I gotta get up by 5, but he'll have me up till 1 in the morning, and he'll just be either watching sports with me or watching movies, or just talking to me. And I'll sit there and I talk to him like I'm talking to you. And I talk to him about my day, and I ask him about his, and whatever his responses are, I generate a conversation with him, and it's a lot of fun. You know, again, the not so fun times again is when he's crying and he's irritable and you don't know why and you're trying to figure it out. But again, those are learning experiences, and I think I've reached a point where, if to any new fathers coming along behind me, I think I'm thus far equipped enough, at least for the last 10 weeks, to offer some sort of advice on what to do, what not to do. That's a good feeling to know that you have someone that will carry on your name and your lineage, someone that is depending on you for life advice, and just depending on you for a lot of things. It puts a different perspective on what your life should really be. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful to God for the opportunity. I know I've made mistakes in the last 10 weeks. Probably will continue to make mistakes, not consciously, obviously, but I'll learn from those, and ensure not to do them in the future. But being a father, it's probably the best feeling that I have right now. The one thing that's carrying me on is him, and I'm grateful for it. So shout out to all the new fathers, all the veteran fathers out there. This job isn't easy, man, but it's one that is very rewarding when you see your children develop and you see them grow up healthy. And eventually I'll get to the point where I'll see the example that I'm setting for him manifest in his daily actions and his words and stuff like that. And that time is coming. It's approaching very rapidly. Can't believe 3 months. We're almost at the 3 month mark where he's here, and it's a beautiful thing. So shout out to the fathers, and shout out to the dad gang, man. My boys Sean, Kevin, and Victor are the creators of the dad gang, and I'm grateful to be a part of that at this point. What else to talk about, man? I think again, one of the things that I touched on earlier is just being in a place where I want to be healthy and I want to be alive to see my son grow, and there are many times that I've slipped and fell, and maybe drank too much or ate the wrong things or didn't take my vitamins or didn't get enough sleep. I mean, these things happen as an adult, but I've been a lot more conscious lately about what I put in my body, how I deal with stress. I just want to be alive as an older dad at 38. By the time my son is 18 and ready to go to his prom, I'll be 56. And that's something that, again, I'm grateful for the opportunity to get older and be alive and be on this earth to see him do that. But I also have to be conscientious that my body isn't the same as it was at 28 or 18, and things hurt now. Like when you do certain things, they hurt. You know, if I was at 18, I could take a bump or take a fall and get right back up and be able to do things as normal. It doesn't work at 38. You know, you got to take those vitamins, and you got to do those soaks and take those warm showers, and um, there's a lot of things you got to do to make sure that your body's functioning and your mind. I mean, stress. It's a very common thing, um, amongst adults, and many people don't think that therapy helps, but it does. Being able to talk to somebody and get that stuff out. A lot of times we live in silence, and those things build up. It's like a powder keg. You don't know what that match is going to be. That spark that's gonna set those things off. So it's important to make sure you're spiritually healthy. Whatever your connection is with the Almighty, make sure that that's healthy. Make sure your mental state is healthy. Be able to talk to somebody or get it out, whatever it is. If it's through exercise, if it's through reading, if it's through meditation, you know, through therapy, whatever it is. Ensure that your mental state is where it needs to be. And physically, watch what you put in your body, man. Just be conscious. I heard a saying one time years ago: garbage in, garbage out. What you put in your body is what you're gonna get out of it. You know, and I'm not saying that we absolutely have to be on green diets and only eat you know things that are lean. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong with indulging with something every once in a while. My vice is pizza, and I love it. You know, and I'll have a slice or two every once in a while, but also understanding that every meal is important: breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and the snacks in between. Make sure we're putting the right things in our body, so that way we can live on for our kids and for our kids' kids, and live on for the endeavors that we set forth for ourselves. So that's been a journey. I joined a new gym down the block, and although it's a lot more expensive than normally what I would pay for a gym, it's actually worth it because, again, the equipment that's there is top quality. It's a huge facility, and to be spending that money on a monthly basis, it's actually a little motivating to keep going and make sure that I'm using it, as opposed to um, if I had a gym that was cheaply priced, and I'm like, oh, I don't have to go today. No, I have to go because I'm paying for this. So I'll continue to update everybody on how that journey is going. Um, I did spend a couple of days in the hospital. Had an abscess that was growing in my throat. This was earlier this month. But praise God that I'm out. I honestly thought it was just either a throat infection or might have been my postnasal drip, but I went into the hospital and tested negative for everything, and the doctor decided, hey, let's go ahead and do a not an ultrasound. What is it called? CAT scan of your throat, just in case there might be an abscess, and she found it. And initially they were talking surgery, emergency surgery to get it drained, and um, your boy was a little nervous, because I've never had surgery a day in my life. I've never had a broken bone. I think the worst that I had was when I tore my Achilles some years ago, but that self healed. Um, Never really had an extensive hospital stay before. So to be in that state was a little nerve wracking, but again, the Almighty saw it fit that that abscess would burst on its own, and even though I couldn't eat for like a good week, couldn't eat, couldn't drink anything. Um, I did lose some weight, which was cool. I think I lost like 10 pounds in like 4 days. So looking to maintain that. That dropped down to like 175, and just looking to maintain that and be a lot healthier. So I'll just keep you guys posted on what's going on with that. And again, I'll look to record and um, get these shows done, especially now that this is during quarantine time. I mean, you have nothing but time since you're going to be home. I mean, me, again, I have to go into the office, but I do anticipate that if this thing continues to spread, that eventually I'll be home. So I'll be a lot more available to record and to bring my life and share my life with you guys. So um, I won't even do questions for today. I'll just wrap this up a little early. But thank you to everybody that continues to support. Had a couple of emails that were sent to me and asking me when I'm going to, record another show, and here it is. And again, I do apologize for it being so late, but you know, had a lot going on. Brand new dad, all this stuff going on with coronavirus. It's kept me busy, but I'm back, and I will talk to you guys. Oh, before I go, did have a brew today, so kept it very simple. So for anybody that is, affected by this quarantine and coronavirus, and of course I know a lot of people will be engaging in their own libational activities. So one thing I do recommend is Seagram's makes a vodka. Did not know they made vodka, but recently found that out. So Seagram's actually makes a pretty good, pretty smooth vodka. And I'm not a vodka man like that because I found in the past that vodka usually would give me a headache, but this one doesn't. So it's a Seagram's vodka. I think at not HEB, at Specs out here in Houston. It's only maybe $16 a bottle, which isn't too bad. And I usually mix it with orange juice, but today I went ahead and mixed it with some Simply Pink lemonade, and it is absolutely delightful. Yes, it is 10 o'clock in the morning, but it's Sunday. All my clothes are prepped for the week. Food is prepped for the week. So for right now, I'm just, recording and, going to take care of some other things, but just having a quick brew in the morning. So cheers to everybody that is out there just hustling, doing what they got to do. Oh, shout out to my boy Craig. Craig, happy birthday, bro. Happy 32nd. Sorry I couldn't be in Florida with you to celebrate today, but this is for you, bro. Cheers to you. God bless. May the Almighty continue to keep and protect and guide you, man, for many more years to come. I love you, bro. Like, you've been there for me in great times and in sad times, man. And for somebody that's 32, man, you are wise beyond your years. And a lot of people don't realize that until they sit and talk with you. A lot of people know you for being the funny guy and the guy that brings the energy into the room, but a lot of people don't know that they can tap into your side that is kind of like an old soul and offer sound advice when needed. So cheers to you, bro. Love you, man. Many more to you. And fellow bearders, beard lovers, beard enthusiasts, again, thank you for joining me. More to come from the beard, and we'll talk soon. Peace and love. Oh, that's good. That's good. All right, y'all. Peace, y'all. Happy Sunday.